helping out people on uh, designing things and implementing things, maybe sometimes troubleshooting things. If you are implementing some new configuration in your infrastructure, I love to help them. I love to guide them, and it's been great. So we'll be starting with the basic understanding of cloud computing and Azure today. We'll have a little overview on what is the overview of all the three certifications that we are going to cover. You know,
Share the escucho.
sorry, somebody was saying something. So if you guys don't have a question, I would like you to please mute yourself. If you have a question, you can raise your hand, you can unmute yourself, ask at any point in time. If I'm being too fast, let me know. I'll slow down. And any point in time, just being, even if you're okay, kind of an okay would help, because this is going to be an interactive session. I don't like to, just keep on speaking and people will not reply. Don't do that, because this is for your learning. You're going to excel at the end. Okay. So I was saying that we'll be looking little bit into what cloud computing is, what Azure is, what are the three certifications that we are going to cover. What are the basic parts of that. And if time permits, we'll also look at a little demo. We'll see. There are certain topics in mind, but we'll see what can be done based on the time. Okay. Now, just wanted to understand from you guys, how many of you have experience with Azure or any cloud per se? I mean, I love the introduction of everybody, but for the sake of time today, we are not doing that. We'll probably do that in some other class. But I just wanted to understand if there are people who have experience to Azure. Anybody?
Sir, my name is Dinesh.
Yes, Dinesh. Hi.
Yeah, hi sir. Sir, I have joined last 6 months back, but some
Okay.
reason of that I've left in
Okay.
between.
Okay.
Okay, I've created the ID, so and I have done some practice like a user creation and virtual machines
Okay.
and lots of things are there. But slowly I will tell.
No,
And
that's okay. That's absolutely okay. See, that's the starting point. What you have done is the starting basic information, like until unless you have a user or a virtual machine to create, that's a very basic thing that we do in Azure.
right,
So it's good.
okay.
Anybody else has any experience or any work related experience? I mean, I believe you all are working somewhere. So do you have experience or exposure to Azure? Even limited, anything should work. That's okay. No one? No problem. Let me share my screen. So I'll start with the presentation. Please let me know once my screen is visible to you guys. Are we good? Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes,
Perfect. So as I said, guys, this is the Azure Master Program. We are going to look at three important certifications. The Azure Administrator one, AZ-104. There was a certification for AZ-500, that's Azure Security, but that is going to retire on August 31st. So we are not going to cover that. We are going to skip it. There is an updated version that is SC-500. Okay, that includes security and AI. And then there is AZ-700, which is for uh, networking solutions on Azure. Okay. Now, since I didn't hear too many people speaking about Azure, I wanted to cover the basics first. What exactly is cloud computing? Everybody talks about cloud, except everybody talks about, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, Oracle Cloud, IBM Cloud. Everybody is creating their own clouds. So what exactly is this? Why exactly is this important? Okay. And now in the age of AI, this is becoming more and more important. So now you assume that you own a company, all of you. I wish someday you own a company, all of you. Uh, Now to start that, if you have an IT company, you to start that, or even you're opening a basic store or something, you need some upfront uh, purchasing to be done, some expenses to be done, right? Sorry, somebody was saying
Am I
something.
audible to you? Hello?
Yes, Shubham. Shubham, we can hear you. Please go ahead. You're saying something.
I guess he's on different
I think,
call.
okay, no worries. We can skip that. Maybe you can write your questions in the chat as well if you have any. Okay, so I was saying that, let's say, you're opening a company, you're opening a showroom, anything. You are doing some expenses upfront, right? You have to purchase. If I have a factory of, let's say, textiles, I'll purchase the yarn, I'll purchase that raw material, and then that is the upfront cost. I'll have the machines, and then I'll produce the fabric and then sell it in the market. If I have an IT company, I'm providing services to somebody, I'll purchase servers, right? I'll purchase some machines which are required, maybe GPUs nowadays, because AI is in focus. So I'll purchase those, I'll get contracts based on that, I'll deliver, I'll maybe create those softwares or some websites or portals, whatever the client needs, and based on that, I'll deliver them. Okay, so this is upfront cost. I don't know how much demand is going to be. I don't know if the demand is going to be uh, more or less than what I have spent. You know, I've spent 10 lakhs, but I don't know if my entire uh, uh, expense is going to be covered with the contracts that I am getting, or am I going to get more out of it or less out of it? There is no clarity, right? So companies work on that model, used to work on that model earlier. Everybody had their own expenses. Whenever you had to procure something, you know that the demand is coming now, that some more new clients are getting contracts with us. We know that the demand is going to increase. At that time, we'll start the procurement process, because I'll know that my current capacity is not enough. I'll go ahead and get more servers. So this is a time consuming process. This is a process where I have to do upfront cost. This is called as CAPEX. If you go into the industry terminology, this is known as CAPEX. That is capital expenditure, where I'm spending my capital to buy some stuff, okay, for my future work. Why cloud computing is important is you get access to this almost everything virtually. Somebody else is hosting it, and you're getting the access. Yes, Surya, I see you have raised your hand. You have a question.
I just want to know, like, cloud is very important, I understood.
Mm-hmm.
But is this for freshers?
This is, yes, if you want to get into IT, if you want to get into cloud computing, then this is a good start for freshers, because see, at the end of the day, I mean, we are going to cover some basics of, I mean, freshers will start with AZ 900, I would say. That's the basic Azure fundamental certification, because that's how you'll get to know cloud. That's how you'll get to know what is actually happening on the cloud side, on Azure side. So we'll cover some basics of AZ 900 as well in 104, because they are extensive. Then you can go for 104 or other certifications, and probably look out for a job.
May I
But
know
if you
why
asked,
only
sorry.
there are a lot of cloud platforms, right? Like
Hmm.
AWS, Azure,
Hmm. Hmm.
Oracle,
Hmm.
Google.
Hmm.
Why only Azure?
Because this course is designed for Azure. I mean, you have separate courses for AWS.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I'm focusing on Azure because this course is designed for Azure certifications. I think maybe you can talk to somebody in sales. If somebody's online, they can help you out. But there are courses for AWS as well, and you can check those out. There are separate courses for networking also, as networkings supports that,
Okay, okay.
if you want to go into that direction.
Okay, okay.
Okay, cool.
Hi, sir. Ajay, sir.
Yes,
Sorry for this stuff.
yes, Sheikh.
Just a small question. Are we not going to cover AZ 900 in this course? Or we need to check it?
Um, AZ900 we are not going to directly cover. See, AZ900 is very basic, very, very basic of what Azure is. Okay, if time permits, or I can check and we can cover a few topics in it. But the thing is, AZ104 is the extended version of AZ900. So since you're covering 104, you are almost covering everything which is there in 900.
Okay. Sorry,
Okay.
actually,
But if required, maybe a day or two here or there, we'll add some. I'll compare the course curriculum one more time, the newer one, latest one, and if time permitted, we'll add 1 or 2 days for any topics which are missing out from 900, and so that you can cover that.
So my question is like, suppose I want to take job in like this cloud computing. So
Hmm.
I need certification like from Microsoft Soft or Databricks certification, or like if institute certification I will take, and that will be enough for doing job, or
See,
getting a clear interview or clearing interview or anything.
see, those are two different things. Okay, when you're talking about Microsoft or cloud certifications, you're talking about Databricks certifications. Two completely different.
Okay.
Microsoft certifications, cloud related, the ones that we are talking about are dedicated, are related to Azure only. There are different cloud providers. You have AWS, you have Google. The foundation is similar. You know, foundation is similar everywhere. Once you understand Azure, only the name changes in the service. Some of the features might change, but you will get the same services in AWS. You will get the same services in Google Cloud. Okay, foundation is very important, and that's what I'm trying to build over here. That we build a very, very concrete foundation where you can move on to anything. Once you have learned Azure, it's easier to grasp on AWS or vice versa. Again, Databricks is something which is very different, because that is completely related to data analysis, data processing, and all. Okay, that is, Databricks is a different company. They create their own certifications. They have their own certifications. They What they do is they work on big data. Like for example, everybody, you might be using WhatsApp. So let's say I'm tracking how many messages are sent by WhatsApp per minute. How many of them contain good morning or good evening. So that's some massive data that I'm trying to analyze. I'm getting output out of that. I'll use Databricks for that. So that is completely different. And Databricks certification will not help if you have no experience with databases or cloud infrastructure.
Okay, so sir, like, you mean to say like, if we want to get into any company, or
Hmm.
suppose Microsoft or certification, or any certification like official certification is not required. If
No, it is.
if I
It
have
is.
a
No, no, no,
project.
no, 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 no. It is required. It will help you. See, the thing is that you will show up above other candidates. If there are five candidates and two of them have done
Mhm.
certifications, I'll surely prefer them. If I am taking the interview, I'll surely prefer them. Right, it is required. But what I was saying, that you are talking about two different things altogether. Cloud computing is different. You are talking about administering Azure as a cloud. You're going as a cloud admin, and you are talking about Databricks, which is entirely a different thing.
Okay.
Okay, so don't compare that. If you compare Azure and AWS or Google Cloud, I would understand. You're comparing Azure with Databricks, that is completely different.
So suppose like, sir, like if I will take certification from institute, and
Hmm.
sir, I agree, like you telling like, two candidate like they have Microsoft certification, definitely company will prefer
Hmm.
like,
Hmm. Hmm.
them. But suppose like, uh, if someone don't have, okay, so they can apply for any, and they can proceed for any company now, like there is
Oh,
no
I mean,
any.
yes. No, 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 no. There is no requirement. I'm not saying there is a requirement, but this is a good thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good thing to have. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
So are you
thank.
working right now anywhere?
Yeah, yeah, I'm working at now.
Yeah, if you're working, then this will help you out. See, then you need to figure out on how this is going to help you out in your job. It's a good thing to do. The certifications. It's always good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
I see two more hands raised. Sheikh, please go ahead.
So my question is, so I'm currently working as a software developer.
Okay.
You are expecting everybody like a software from the background from the software, and that we are in right course you are teaching. I mean to say that you are not expecting only for the networking guys who are with the
No, no,
background.
no, no, no. This is an open class. This is for anybody who has an interest in cloud. If you have some basic knowledge of how things work, how servers and client machines work, maybe, or Windows is working for that matter. If you have basic understanding, this course is for everyone. Okay, I'm not expecting anybody to have. It's good to have certifications. I mean, or some knowledge. If you have software development knowledge, very well and good. If somebody has networking knowledge, well and good. But if you have just basic information about those things, we are good to go.
Yes, yes. That is what my question. Actually,
I
we
don't need any expert level
apply our
knowledge on any of these.
kind of expect. Thanks.
Okay. Yes,
Uh,
Shubham. Shubham.
I
Hello.
have
Hey, hi,
a
Ajay sir. Am I audible to you?
Yes, now you're audible.
Okay. Uh, Hi, Ajay sir. Right now, I'm working in networks and firewall security. I have a
Okay,
2 years of
great.
experience
Okay,
doing CCNA, CCNP, and all
okay,
switching out based related things. Now I'm working with securities like
okay,
Sophos,
okay,
Fortinet.
okay, okay.
Okay. So my question is, actually, I'm looking forward to move from basic network security to cloud networks. As we all
Hmm,
know, in Microsoft certification of the cloud, uh,
hmm,
AZ 700 is the certification like cloud networking, designing
hmm,
and
hmm,
implementing of
hmm,
cloud
hmm,
network.
hmm, hmm,
In
hmm.
AWS, it's
Yes,
advanced networking. So
yes.
several certifications over there. So by doing physical things on the physical devices, hands-on, like
Hmm,
Cisco, Fortinet, Juniper. Okay, how can
hmm,
we move to cloud networks? And if we are moving to the cloud networks by doing the certifications, is that the previous earlier experience will count, or can we move forward to the cloud networks? This will. I just wanted to know how will be the roadmap and how could identify the projects. Like if I'm getting cloud certified cloud network engineer, so how could we, identify the projects or how could we apply? Because multiple projects having DevOps projects, no.
hmm,
In-
hmm, hmm,
Inside the cloud environment, only as a network, we have to deal with the virtual networks, virtual subnets,
hmm, hmm.
virtual firewalls, and virtual VPC on the
Yes,
physical servers.
yes.
Okay. So I'm having some
See,
confusion related, how can we identify the cloud network jobs instead of the DevOps jobs and cloud jobs? And how could
no,
we move further from basic networks to cloud networks? Yeah.
see, that's a good question. Now I would, point out a couple of things.
Oh, yeah.
See, when you're looking at AZ 700, that is
Yeah.
about networking, Microsoft networking associate, and designing and implementing networking solutions.
Hmm.
You're designing network for a whole company. When you're talking about security, you're securing some networks. Now, if you don't know the foundation,
Yes.
how will you secure it? So
Yeah.
knowing the foundation is always a plus point. Okay, I don't, I'm not saying that you cannot do it. You can always be a security engineer, but knowing the foundation is something very important. All the companies, all the organizations are now moving towards cloud. Okay, many of them. In the AI race, this has even accelerated. The moment has accelerated actually. Now everybody is moving there. Now let's say uh, I've seen many organizations which are not using Azure firewall, for example. They'll have they uh, rely more on Palo Alto, they rely more on
Yes.
Cisco,
Correct.
they rely more on Juniper. So they integrate their
Hmm.
Azure resources
Hmm.
with Palo Alto
Hmm.
and then design the security. That is where your experience will come in because you
Okay.
have already worked it. Now, let's say I'm designing my environment. I have virtual machines, I have applications, but I want to ensure that any kind of traffic that is originating from my virtual machine and reaching my application, that is crossing via Palo Alto, or any traffic which is going from my virtual machine towards the internet, that is crossing via Palo Alto.
Okay.
So what are the firewall rules? How are you designing those, on Azure side as well? If you have experience with network security groups or the application security groups, how are you designing that? That is something that where your old experience will come in picture.
Okay.
Okay. You can
Right.
always look for a security engineer. Don't think that first build skills. The jobs will obviously, show up one of the, today or tomorrow. The job market is like that you might not find. I'm not saying that you will immediately find it today, but if you have the right set of skills, a job will show up. You will find it. An
Okay.
important point is that when you are looking at now coming from AZ 700, now let's talk about SC 500. SC 500 is completely about security. What you are talking about.
Okay.
With firewalls also you are, ultimately securing the network. SC 500 is about securing the Azure environment, about AI related security, about your, securing the infrastructure that any customer would have, or any organization would have, any environment would have. So when they want people with specific set of skills, you actually have a diverse set. You have, networking background, and you are delivering them some, you're showcasing your skills via Azure certifications as well, that cloud and security. So yeah, good match.
Yes, so it is very good preferred match for from this particular network background, as you
Yes,
know. Yeah.
I would absolutely suggest that. That's a very good
Okay.
combination in my view.
Thank
Okay.
you so much, sir. Yeah.
Thank you. I think more hands are there. Sarabjit, you can, guys who have asked your questions, you can raise down, lower your hand actually. It's creating a little confusion. Shubham, Sheikh, Sarabjit, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir.
Yes, hi.
So continuing with Shubham's query, actually,
Mm-hmm.
I'm also from a network background,
Mm-hmm.
working with routers, switches, firewalls, and all. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but additionally, I would say that I don't have any like hands-on with Azure, but I have like hands-on experience in AWS,
Okay.
like working with AC2, S3 buckets, and all those things. I
Mm-hmm.
am. So I guess for me, then that learning curve would be not that much, right? So I can easily grasp the concepts, right?
No,
Because the
it's
underlying concepts will be similar,
mm.
right? For the
Yeah. See, the foundation of cloud is same. At the end of the day, this is for everyone. See, when I'm talking about cloud, anything you talk about AWS, you talk about Google, Azure, anything. And now when I'll specifically talk about Azure right now. Let's say I'm saying that there is an Azure region in India. We have Microsoft has data centers in India, in Pune, Hyderabad, Mumbai, and so on. Now any company will have physical data centers. They'll have racks, they'll have servers created. On top of that, you are creating maybe your virtual machines, your Kubernetes clusters, your virtual networks, or you're hosting some applications. So at the end of the day, it physically goes to some servers, which is hosted in a region, which is hosted in a data center, and the company might be different. There are some companies which own private clouds as well. They are doing the same thing, but they're for their own organizations. They are not using
correct,
public clouds, right? So
correct.
it is, when you have the foundation, when you have the foundation, it is very easy to grasp other cloud concepts as well. I know a lot of companies prefer using both. For some services they love Azure, for some services they love AWS. So the people working there will have exposure to both of them. Now I
Okay,
might be talking about virtual machines over here. They'll call compute. Something else will be called in Google. The features might differ a little over here and there, but the underlying concept is the same.
okay, okay.
Okay.
And another thing to add, actually, I have a little bit of interest towards the DevOps as well.
Okay.
I have worked with some DevOps tools like Docker, Kubernetes also in
Mm-hmm.
past, and currently I'm managing data center activities, which
Okay.
includes everything like SOC, SIEM, and OpenShift, everything like
Okay.
Linux
Okay. Okay.
administration,
Okay.
everything.
Okay.
So how my what would be how I can like merge both of these like network and security portion and DevOps and cloud. Uh,
So
with a good
You
combination
know,
or not?
it's see the combination. There can be n number of combinations. The important point is what you want to do. You know, if you love DevOps, you know, there is DevOps security line. I think Networkings also has a course on DevOps as well. But you can, if you are looking into more into DevOps, then DevOps security is something that you can look for. Cloud security is something that you can look for. SC500 would help you a lot there, because nowadays people are more and getting into more and more security with those, with the DevOps pipeline, and with AI coming in picture, a lot of things are changing, right? So SC500 would help you over there, and with that, with the basic network in I mean network knowledge that we have in AZ700, you will also understand on how the networks are actually working. You know, if you are deploying some resources via pipeline and they are failing, you know where to troubleshoot, you know the network where to look for, what to look for. This is the added advantage, apart from an administrator, that the people that the companies are looking right now. They want everything bundled in one. So that is where, I mean, your skills would come in picture. But first thing, I will suggest you that, you know, you clear your mind where you need to go. If you have exposure on AWS also, you can explore the AWS path instead of Azure. That's up to you. Absolutely up to you. And you can, I mean, as I said, we have courses for all the cloud providers. I mean, mainly for Azure and AWS, for DevOps as well. You can talk to someone and review those as well.
I want to do both actually, because nowadays multiple companies are there going for multi-cloud, right? Maybe the production would be in a
Yeah,
different cloud
yeah,
and
yeah.
staging would be in a
Yes,
different cloud.
yes,
So in
yes.
that case,
Yeah, that's what I was talking. You know, many companies do that. They use some features from Azure, use some features from AWS, and
So Sarabjit, like
they
we
do it.
have a
Yeah.
separate team who is helping with the different courses, because we are already dealing with Azure, AWS, and GCP. We have a multi-cloud courses also, so we can discuss separately after this call. Okay?
sure, definitely.
Yeah. Thanks.
Sorry.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Ajay. Continue.
Thanks, man. Yeah, Javed, please go ahead.
I'm sorry, did you
Javed
call
said,
me
yeah,
Ajay? Yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
Ajay, I was
yeah,
on
yeah.
mute. So Ajay, just to give you a background,
Mm,
I have 7+ years of experience as a tech with Aruba and with Palo Alto and now with Zscaler.
okay, okay.
So I have seen customers using mixture of both like AWS and Azure. The
Mm,
major purpose why I have tried to enroll this course is to know more about the servers and along with the cloud part, because like I have seen customers coming up with the queries and a lot of issues when they try to deploy the end machines using any of the MDM
mm,
devices like
mm, mm,
Intune or
mm.
and also related to the profiling and other things. So just to be open, like I have experience related to the networking background, not towards the servers and how things work. Even like to be frank, like I just know like how AD works and other things, not much into it because purely I was into networking. Now I thought like server knowledge is also needed. So is there something prerequisites that is
No, no,
needed
no, there are
here?
no prerequisites.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing as such. I mean, as I said, you know, when if you have basic knowledge of networking, basic knowledge of how things are working, or even basic knowledge of Windows, worst case scenario, you're good. Okay, we'll take
No, no,
care of
network.
everything else. Networking, you know it. That
Mm,
will help with the couple of certifications, and we'll provide you the exposure to Azure.
okay, understood.
Okay, we'll
Because
show you how
reason.
things works.
Mhm. Reason being is like because like since I have all the experience as a tech, we
Mm,
tend to look at multiple topologies of different customers and
mm,
identifying till the packet capture level analysis and giving them the root cause why it happened and everything. And I
mm.
have seen mostly people using like Intune, SCCM, and also the Azure AD and everything, but in not in a structured way.
Yeah.
That's what.
See, Intune and SCCM are for deployments. They are for
Mhm.
purely for
Mhm.
deployments, like managing your
Mhm.
devices and deployments. That is
Mhm.
a, separate thing. I mean, Intune is more of like the cloud version of SCCM. SCCM is a very old tool, but these are all for deployments. I want, I let's say I have 1,000 employees and I want some application to be installed on all their laptops. I'll push it via SCCM or
Mhm.
Intune. Or if I want to manage mobile devices for my organization, or people have to enroll it, that will be done by Intune. So that is where a little networking will come in picture, obviously, because if something goes wrong, you will fall back to networks. You'll understand what is going wrong. But if since you're coming from network and security or firewall background, it's pretty good. You will understand how things are working in cloud, because till now you have been working on premises mostly. I'm assuming that how things have been physically working. Now, how they virtually work, you will be able to actually implement a lot of concepts over here with this.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Josefa, sorry you had to wait so long. Uh,
No issue. Hi Ajay. Hi
yeah.
all. So my question is related to a troubleshooting. In this course, in this whole
Mm,
course, is
mm, mm,
we will get different scenarios to perform troubleshooting, because I have a good understanding in AZ104 and
mm,
multiple things, private
mm,
private
mm,
link layers and storage troubleshooting, but
mm.
I have not a good understanding or good grasp in a troubleshooting. I was in a interview, so
Okay.
they used to ask troubleshooting only. So what exact rules I followed?
Uh, See, we will try to cover some scenarios. I would be completely honest with you. See, we are focusing on certifications and basic foundation layer of these certifications, understanding the topics first. So
Hmm.
my goal is to make you understand the logic. If you understand the logic, see, everybody, I'm not again saying it about you, but let's say I start telling somebody that you follow some articles, and if a new engineer comes in, I'll tell him that you go create a virtual machine, you follow the Microsoft documentation, you'll be able to create a virtual machine. But what
Hmm.
actually is happening in the background, that is really important to understand how the infrastructure is configured, how it is working, how the resources are coming up. That foundation
Hmm.
is very important. Okay, that's what we'll try to build over here first, because based on that you will appear for the certification and clear it. And again, I'll be truly blunt that certification is something that a lot of people can clear it. Okay,
Hmm.
it's not a big deal in clearing, but understanding those things, presenting those things is what is important for your jobs. Okay, and that is what we are going to build over here. We are going to build that logic. If somebody is asking you a question for troubleshooting, let's say why my virtual machine is not connecting, you have that logic on how the connection is flowing. Okay, why my app service is down, you have that logic of understanding how that connection is flowing, how that virtual network is behaving, how that application gateway is behaving, and then you try to troubleshoot step by step. That you will get from the logical foundation that we are going to build. Okay, so I'm to answer your query again in short, I might not be cover a lot of troubleshooting scenarios, but we'll build the foundation that will help you in covering those. Okay, we'll try to cover as many possible here and there, but
Hmm.
we have a time bound thing over here.
Okay, got it.
Okay, yes, Omkar.
Hi Ajay, hi everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. Actually, I have 3 years of experience, but it's a non-tech background. I want to
Okay,
switch to cloud computing.
okay.
Actually, my current module is cloud, but
Mm.
my work is not related to any tech. So,
Okay.
is it possible for me to switch to cloud? And I have 3 years of experience.
Yes, it is surely possible, but what are you working on right now? I mean,
Uh, yes, actually,
y-
this is incident response engineer. So
mm,
basically, I'm responsible for monitoring the alerts and
okay,
RCA part. So
okay.
yeah, and I do work with the Kibana and Grafana, these things for monitoring tool.
Okay.
So would it be possible for me to switch to a cloud? Yeah, this was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
question.
It is surely possible for you to switch to cloud. I mean, we are going to cover the from the beginner level over here.
Okay.
Um, I mean, we are looking for administrator certifications, but we'll cover basics as well. You will have to invest a little more time comparatively. That's what I would say. But apart from that, yeah, you can surely switch.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Yes, this was my question. Yes.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank
Hi,
you so
Shailesh.
much.
Yes, Shailesh, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Shailesh, this side. Actually, I'm from the hardware background and
Okay.
I'm looking forward to change. So, is it correct platform for me to switch or I have to what? I'm quite confused here to. So, can you please suggest what we have to do?
Hardware in the sense, what are you exactly working with right now?
Desktop support engineer in
Okay.
Wipro.
So yeah, you can switch. I mean, if you are looking for a change and you are looking for cloud as an option in your future jobs, you can
Okay,
always.
it is
It's
basic.
the same thing.
Yeah, it is basic course or
No,
what
it
it is
is
like
intermediate.
everyone is asking related to
It is
networking
intermediate.
only,
No.
so
It is
I don't have
intermediate.
any idea.
It is intermediate. We'll talk about basics as well, but you might have
Okay.
to spend a little more time, as I was telling
Yeah,
Prashant.
yeah, that I will do.
Okay.
But it is correct course where I can join, correct? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I think we have taken too many questions. Just we'll quickly
So
cover,
Ajay, I
guys.
think
Yeah.
let's continue with the topic
Yeah.
and we'll take a
Yeah.
questions.
We
Yeah.
are. I had actually kept Q&A at the last, but I thought, okay. Anyways, let's guys, just give me a few minutes. I see Shailesh and Bhushan, you have your hands raised up. Rohit is also there. Guys, please wait for some time. I'm really sorry. We have already crossed 9:30, 9:40. It's 9:40. I had to cover my PPTs by now. So it's pretty simple. I mean, I'm going to quickly cover the PPT and then we'll jump on to Q&A. I think we might not have time for a quick demo today, but we'll see. Okay. Um, Sorry about that. Yeah. So guys, simply I was talking about cloud computing. This is for people who are, who have a little bit of knowledge or do you have no knowledge of cloud computing? This is what I was telling you about. Whenever you are starting a business, you are starting a company, you're doing some upfront costs. That is the operational expense. This is where cloud comes in. Cloud is something, I am Microsoft. I have designed a data center. Uh, Data center is nothing but a building where, I have got thousands of servers installed. Now on that server, I'll give you access. You will authenticate as a user. You have purchased a subscription. You have purchased some license from me. You as a user, you as a customer can go ahead and create the resources which are required for you. So as I was saying, I am an IT company. I have spent 10 lakhs on my servers. I don't know if how many contracts am I going to get. Will my capacity be enough? If my contracts are exceeding the capacity, I'll need to, procure more servers, get those and get those purchased and then installed, and then I'll start with the next contracts. But here it's within minutes. The moment you need something, okay, my capacity is exhausting. I need few more resources. I'll go ahead and with a few clicks, I'll go ahead and just spin up some virtual machines, spin up some networks which are required. Anything can be done. So the access to compute, storage, networking is something which makes the cloud an easy solution. I'm defining it basically on these three things. Okay. This compute, storage, and network. This is really important. There are many more things to do, but I am just talking about these, because you need compute, you need machines to run something. Right now, you all are connecting from your phone or your laptop. That is the compute, right? You are doing something with that machine. Then you need storage because your laptops, your mobile phones without the storage, without your hard disks would be nothing. Where will you store the data? And then networks, because you have too many resources. How do you connect them? You connect them via networks. Okay, that is the most important part. Now, I would say, let's move to the next slide now. There are different types of environments. I see a lot of people are coming from networking backgrounds. They have worked on some Palo Alto networks or Cisco networks, securing the firewall, sorry, securing the on-premises environment. So on-premises is again the same thing that I was talking about. I am owning the servers. I am operating them. I have them purchased. I have them under my ownership. So now the management is after, all that I have to look after. Nobody else is going to look. It's my company, my resources, my management. If something goes wrong, it's my headache. If I have to plan the capacity, tomorrow I might think that today we have grown by 20-30%. This year, my contracts have grown by 20-30%. Next year, it might grow by 40%. So I have to upfront plan the capacity and purchase something. I'll have to keep people on payroll to manage those. If something goes wrong, they have to troubleshoot it. Maybe they'll open a case with Microsoft or some other provider, but at the end, it's your own management. In public cloud, you are relying on the infrastructure of a resource provider or a cloud provider like Microsoft, like AWS, like Google. As I said, they have data centers, they have regions where they have their data centers configured. You are just giving them instructions that, okay, I want this. The underlying infrastructure is owned by Microsoft. If something goes wrong with the infrastructure, that is their headache. But they'll give you the SLA. They'll because your business relies on them, they will give you some agreements that, okay, we'll give you 99 or 99.9% uptime, that your services will not go down. Let's say I am running a website, I'm running some e-commerce website or an application, right? And my application is hosted on Azure. If the Azure infrastructure goes down, my application is hit. I am getting the revenue hit, because users cannot log in, they cannot place orders. So it's my loss. So if I have to host something on Azure has to give me some guarantee, okay, that we'll ensure that your demands are met. We'll ensure that your infrastructure is up and running. Now this gives me flexibility, right? You guys must have seen that many times. Amazon, Flipkart, everybody comes on. Even few days back, they had these sales for 15th August and everything. They'll come again around Diwali or something, right? Now they know that the demand is going to increase. Now, let's say Flipkart is running a virtual machine scale set. I mean, in the background, let's say that they are running some servers which are hosted on Azure. Just an example, okay? They know that the demand is going to increase during the sale time. So they'll procure 20 more, add 20% capacity. And after the demand goes away, they'll release those. So this is on demand. This is very important because I am just paying for what I am using at that point in time. The moment I don't want it, I'll go ahead and release those and my billing will stop. This is called OPEX. This is, in industry terms, this is operational expense. I am running some workload and this is an operational expense. This is CAPEX, is capital expenditure, when you are doing expenses upfront. Okay, but here you have a little shared responsibility. You need to understand that the security and everything. It's not Microsoft is managing that, but it's also about that you are also looking after your company security. It's not like you are hosting servers on Microsoft and you give username and password to n number of people and then they exploit your environment, and tomorrow you blame Microsoft that something went wrong. So this is a shared responsibility in terms of security, in terms of management. Okay, Microsoft is managing the infrastructure, but you are managing the resources as your own. You are managing the features on your own. Then there is another thing that is called as a hybrid environment. Hybrid environment is something that a lot of companies use right now because they don't want to completely move to cloud, for example, or there are many reasons. Like many companies, even if I talk about Fortune 500 companies from USA or from globally top 500, top 1000 companies, most of them have on premises and public cloud environment. So this is a hybrid environment. You might keep let's say they have some sensitive data, user information that they have. They'll keep it on their own on-premises servers, which have restricted access, which have high security from their perspective. Some workloads that they are running, like e-commerce application that I was talking about. Some workloads they'll move to cloud because the compute is scalable, right? I have use of uh, some let's say 100 machines right now. Tomorrow I'll have use of 150, and then I might have use of 75. So I can scale it on demand. I'll purchase 100, then I'll increase it to 150, then I'll reduce it to 75. And nobody will come and ask a question. Microsoft will not come and say that you're using less. No, I'll pay for what I'm using. So everybody in most of the organizations nowadays, they have a hybrid environment where they have their on-premises environment and they also have cloud. Okay, make sense? Okay, now there is also a concept of public and private cloud. You will hear this, in some very, very big organizations, they also have private cloud infrastructures. Like one I know, Reliance has it for Geo. Microsoft manages that. So there is a very, very fine difference between on-premises and environment and private cloud. If you see, on-premises is something that you are owning and operating the hardware. You have to do, CAPEX and something. But in private cloud, what will happen? Uh, you have dedicated resources. This is a cloud which is deployed, kind of a software layer deployed on hardware that you own, and it'll give you kind of the cloud-like user experience to your users. Let's say, I am Reliance. I want to create a private cloud. I approached Microsoft. Microsoft created a data center for me. There are physical servers there, but those will be only used for my own company's work. For maybe for Reliance, maybe for Geo, maybe for this Reliance Retail or something. They'll be only used for companies which are related to me. What the users are getting, they are getting a cloud-like experience. I mean, they'll probably get their own portal from where they can again request some resources, deploy some resources on demand, and then trim them down, shut them down, scale up and down whatever is needed. Compared to on-premises environment where you have to do upfront cost, you have to take approvals, 10 times of approvals you'll have to take that. Okay, I need this physical server, then I'll create virtual machines on that. But here you are doing that on demand. So here you own the physical servers, you do own everything, but there is a software layer that is provided by some cloud provider, and then this becomes your private cloud. Okay, some very big organizations do use that because they don't want to move their data to public. They want to own everything, and they also want the cloud-like experience. Okay. Why people are moving to cloud? We have already discussed most of the things, like, you are getting pay as you go. Whatever you are using, you are paying only for that. Again, same example, I've got, 10 lakhs spent on my servers. Whether I'm using or not, my 10 lakhs are gone. I've spent them. But right now, let's say the demand is less. I only want to, use a portion of it on cloud. I might be spending 75,000. Right? So it's pay as you go. Whatever you are using, you will pay based on that. Then the expense turns as OPEX instead of CAPEX. These two are very important industry related terms. A lot of people ask in interviews, what is CAPEX and OPEX. So you should always note it down. OPEX is, again, whatever I'm using, I'm spending based on that. That is my operational expense. CAPEX is something that the capacity was planned before, and I'm doing some capital expenditure. You can reduce or increase resources on demand. That is what scaling means. Already given multiple examples. Speed is there. You are provisioning some resources quickly. Today, I have decided that I want to build a web page. Tomorrow, I'll host it on Azure, or even today itself, I can host it on Azure, create a database in the background, and make it live. That's the speed that you're getting. You can do whatever you want with the resources provided. On top of that, let's say you're getting a global presence. Now, I have a company which is based in Mumbai, and I want to. I have some users who have been, who have been using my services in, let's say, in London. So, and I want to, they are accessing my application, but they are facing some latency because my data center is in Mumbai. I'm using Mumbai resources, and I've got users in London. That is not global, right? So I'll also deploy the resource in a data center which is closer to them, so that their network latency is reduced. They are getting better experience with the application. Right? How do you guys think that companies like, I mean, there are different sorts of databases, but just think for a bit that how are companies like Facebook, Netflix, they work. They are globally working because they have data centers globally. Meta is working, they have, how is your message sent on WhatsApp right now? It immediately within milliseconds it reaches to the person who is sitting in US or Australia. How is that happening? Because they have data centers everywhere. They have their servers which are relaying information at that point in time, and that latency is reduced. If there was only one server for WhatsApp in US, you assume that from your mobile phone, the message will go to US. From that, then message will be relayed to Australia, where your friend is sitting. How much time it will take? So you are getting that global exposure with cloud. And then on top of that, no matter what cloud provider you're using, the top three are AWS, Azure, and Google. You are getting enterprise level support, and security, compliance, everything is managed by them. Okay. I have been talking about Azure infrastructure. The important point over here is to understand that everything. I'm talking Azure perspective right now. It is built based on regions. Everything is built on. You have some data centers built. When I say data centers, you can just imagine a building which is created and it is full of servers. That's it. That is a data center. It has powering solutions. It has cooling solutions, because data centers they generate a lot of heat, right? So they need cooling solutions. They need power to run. You cannot run a machine or your personal computer or your laptop without power, right? So they need these kind of physical needs are there. Then a data center is created. When you combine multiple data centers which are closely related, let's say one building is here and 50 feet far there is another building, or maybe 50 meters far there is another building. So these are two data centers. This will be called as one zone. There can be multiple zones in one region. Okay, I know that this might be a little confusing, but just try to understand that. Okay, I have got, I think here I can draw. Let's say I have got sorry, my bad, 1 minute. I don't know what happened with my pen. One moment. Okay, let's say something is wrong. Let's say this is one data center, this is second data center. These both will come inside a zone. Okay, this will be a zone, and there are multiple zones. These all will come inside a region, like India Central. I have given that example over here, that you have India Central region in Asia Pacific. You have got that. This is in Pune. So Microsoft has a data center in Pune. In this, they have multiple zones, and each and every zone will have one or two data centers which are closely related. Okay, this is possible, and this is how they are managing the infrastructure. Because what if something goes wrong? They have to ensure, they have to answer the customers. So data center is something which is the lowest point you can see. Then a couple of data centers will have constitute an availability zone. This will constitute a region, and multiple regions will constitute a geography. So Asia Pacific is your geography. Then India Central is the region where you have zones and where you have multiple data centers. Okay, and everything that you're doing is on the data centers. Everything that the resources that you're creating, anything you're creating, a database, you're creating a virtual network, everything is going to happen on these data centers, on the servers which are hosted in this data center. Okay. Now I think I have one more. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. So you have one Azure region. With Azure region, you have maybe zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. It is not required that all regions will have them, but mostly most of the regions have 3 zones. And in zone 1, you might have more than one data center, again more than one data center, more than one data center. And these are all independent of power and cooling systems and everything. What if uh, power goes down for one of my data centers? There is a power failure. My data center is down. So does that mean that the customer who is working on resources deployed on this, their business is down, right? So that is why we have multiple data centers here. First thing, if this zone goes down, let's say there was a flood somewhere and this complete zone went down, there were 3 data centers, they went down. So another zone will pick up. These zones will be almost 40 to 50 or maybe sometimes 80 kilometers apart. So even if I'm talking about Pune or Mumbai or Hyderabad where we have data centers, these will be like 40 kilometers apart. So that if there is a flood in one region, it doesn't mean that the flood will be affecting the another region 40, 50, 60 kilometers apart. And if this is also going down, this is again 50, 60 kilometers apart. Okay. This is called fault tolerance. Like if something is going down, you have some other place where things will come up. Now, the last thing to note, one of the most important things to note over here is that whenever you are creating a subscription, like you are going to Azure, you are creating an Azure account, you're signing up for it, and then you are creating a subscription. There are many options. Like one thing I was talking about, pay as you go. Like whatever you're using, you'll get billed for that. There is something called Azure for Students. If you're a student and you have a .edu account, you'll get like I think $100 per month. You'll get credits for 1 year so that you can test it out. There are Visual Studio subscriptions. I'm personally using this. If you have a Visual Studio license and that has the benefit of Azure subscription, you will get $150 per month. Then there are enterprise agreements, like companies will do their own agreements with Microsoft and then they'll purchase subscriptions. So it depends from offer to offer. I've heard that there are some reseller sellers as well that Microsoft is giving them on discount. They are selling them on discount. So that is also an option. But ultimately, your subscription is the most important thing what will come in picture. Because so think of your subscription like your laptop. I can create a video file on that. I can create an MP3 file on that. I can create a PNG image file on that. I can create a text file on that. Right? Different resources, different types of, I'm with the file, I'm talking about different resources that you can host. You can host on your Azure. There is something called as resource groups. Okay. What with the resource group, what will happen is they are created under the subscription, and with resource groups, what you get is you can assume that they are like folders, where inside that you can create multiple resources. We'll see all that in the upcoming sessions. But with the subscription, your billing is tied to the subscription. Whatever you are using is billed per subscription. You might have 10 resources, 50 or 10,000 resources. Then your access is all like how many people have access. If you are working for an organization, how many people have access to the subscription or the resources. We can go as much granular as possible. I can ensure that you only have access to 1 or 2 resources, not the whole subscription. Then you have quota, like how many resources can you create? There are different quotas for that. And all the resources, as I said, your resources are underlying the main point for everything is subscriptions. Okay. This is some information that I've taken from the web recently. Now the global cloud spending is increasing. With AI wave, it's increasing multifold. Everybody is now using, either Google Gemini or Chat GPT, or maybe they'll use cloud. for their work, for their day-to-day work, or maybe asking some questions. So where do you think that all that workload is going? Somewhere, some or the other way, that is passing through cloud. So when it is passing through cloud, Azure also has a fair share because it owns stake in OpenAI. And I think that it also has a still a very small stake in cloud. But that is the AI wave which is growing day by day. And that is where the cloud is growing. When cloud is growing, the job prospects are going because everybody is moving towards cloud. Okay. All the cloud services, if I'm not talking about Azure, you'll see that Azure, AWS, Google, they have all shown tremendous growth in past 5 to 10 years. People are more and more people, more and more companies are moving their workloads to cloud because they feel that, now there is one more problem with the infrastructure I was telling you. I've purchased the server today. 3 years down the line, that will be obsolete, right? People who had purchased Intel, if you guys know that there used to be, dual core processors, then Core 2 Duo came, then Intel i3 came, then i5, i7. Now there are different generations coming in those. So when Core 2 Duo was launched, when it was brand new processor, everything was great. Then Intel launched i3. Core 2 Duo was something that was obsolete. You're getting more compute power, you're getting more resources with something. So, every 5 or 10 years, 10 years is, I mean, a long time, but 3 or 5 years, you'll have to ensure that your infrastructure is getting upgraded again and again. That capital expenditure I was talking about, that will keep on growing. So many companies which are realizing that they are moving to cloud. When they are moving to cloud, a lot of share is coming to Azure, and that is where your, the future prospects look good for cloud as a whole and Azure's share on that. Okay, makes sense. Any questions till
Yes.
now from what I've covered? I mean, we can answer the. I know a couple of guys were left. We can answer those in the Q&A. But anything for till now, whatever we have covered, this is very, very basic of cloud computing. Very basic.
Yes, sir. Just one question.
Yes, Bhushan.
Yeah. So, which public cloud has a maximum market share in enterprises now?
AWS is
Oh,
around 40%, 35% is Azure, 35, 36% is Azure, and I think 24% is Google.
okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, but again, it's kind of cutthroat competition between AWS and Azure. You'll see in the past 2 years, if you'll compare, Azure has grown at par. I mean, even better than AWS. The growth has been tremendous. So, I'm not sure one day it'll even move beyond AWS on that. But both are good skills. I'm not saying that AWS is bad. Both are very good skills, very good things to skills to have, very good um, uh, cloud environments to understand. So that's something that you can keep in mind. Any more questions?
Okay, sir, one question. As a
Yeah, Sheikh.
software developer, I can see it requires Azure 204. By any chance, are we covering anything related to that in this course?
Sorry, for AZ 204.
Yeah.
204, sorry, we are not covering that. We are covering 104 SC 500 and AZ 700. 204 we are not covering.
Okay, then I'll
Yeah,
check it.
yeah. Anybody else has any questions till now? Yeah. Yes, Bhushan.
Yeah. So regarding the subscription part, will I get my own Azure subscription for the labs during this course, or shared lab environment we will use?
I think you'll get shared lab environment.
Guys, like I'll tell you, the people who already enrolled, we have our subscription. We already buy a subscription from Azure. So you are a part of that particular subscription where 24/7 you can join through that particular subscription. You don't need to add your own credit card or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because simply, if in case you're adding your own credit card, that means like there is a risk. Sometimes people don't know how to use the resources, and they're getting a bill every month around $500-$600. So just to cut out that particular problem, we introduced a subscription where we took a subscription from Microsoft directly, and you are a part of that only. So we don't have any own infra or something. You are getting a direct access to Microsoft subscription only.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. So I'll move forward.
Sir, Dinesh here.
Yes, Dinesh.
Hi.
I want to ask, Azure is cheaper than AWS, sir?
Yes, to some extent, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I have extensively worked on Azure. Little, I mean, I have some experience on AWS, but what I have seen or what I've heard from industry, always AWS is more on the expensive side compared to Azure.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
But they are giving the free subscription for a year, I believe.
See, trials, as I said, Azure is also giving you options, free for students, free for Visual Studio subscribers, free for pay as you go also. If you'll start for the first time, for the first month, you will get $200 credit so for testing and all. And on top of that, for 1 year, you'll have a lot of, I think, 60 plus services are free. Like you can create 20, 30 virtual networks, you can create some storage accounts, you can create a free databases. A lot of things are free in that. So that you can test it out for testing purposes always. AWS also gives it, but again, the number of services are always limited. Not everything will be free for 1 year.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, Manoj.
Yeah, hi Ajay.
Yes, hi,
So,
please.
yeah, you said like you will cover in this like YAZ 104 and the other two,
Yeah.
like the other two courses, which one?
Those are AZ 700 and SC 500. I'm just coming to that in the next slide.
Oh, okay. And one more thing, like okay, you are coming next time. Okay, I will just.
Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide. Now, these are the three important certifications that we are going to cover. First is AZ 104, that is Microsoft Azure Administrator. Mainly about administering the environment, you know. Uh, we have talked about compute, the virtual machine part. I mean, how do you deploy them? There are different ways of deploying. You have app services, like I was talking about one web application. If you will be hosting, there are containers, Kubernetes clusters that you can configure. There are ways to configure it. You can use Portal, you can use PowerShell, CLI, templates like ARM, Bicep. If you guys have seen Terraform, a lot of people have worked on Terraform. So these are all about deploying compute, and when you're deploying them, when you're logging on to the environment, when you're logging on to the portal, you as a user are authenticated, right? What permissions do you have? What management can you do? What configuration can you do? What roles are you part of? That is all about
And
identities and governance, like role based access control. If I want to deploy some policies, let's say I don't want anybody to deploy virtual machines in India Central Region. I can create a policy and deny that. Whenever you try to do that, it will automatically fail that there is a policy. Entra ID is something somebody was saying earlier, that they have Azure AD understanding. Entra ID is the new name for Azure AD. Or on-premises AD, you'll compare Azure AD with that. Entra ID is the Active Directory for Azure. Then you have subscriptions. We have discussed about them and the costs for those subscriptions. Okay. Now, if you guys see the three important concepts that I had taken in my cloud image, those were compute, virtual networks, where what kind of um maybe you're creating a virtual network, you're creating network security groups for your as your firewalls, you are creating private endpoints for your connectivity, you are creating a DNS server for some resolutions, IP to name to IP resolutions. So that is all about networking. And then the third thing, most important, is storage, because where will you store the data? So there are storage accounts, there are databases for storage, different sorts of databases. In storage accounts, you have blob files, you have different access methods on how will you access these storage accounts, and how you can make them redundant if something fails. If the storage account goes down, how will you ensure that your data is safe? Along with this, what is covered in as an administrator, what is important for you is how to monitor something, because administering or managing an environment is not about reactive work. Reactive in the sense something goes wrong and now you are fixing it. I know that it is August, it's going to rain. When it started raining, I went to purchase an umbrella. That's not something that is right? That is reactive work. We should be proactive, looking at how things are. If I'm looking at the weather report right now, I know that this is going to rain, so I'll carry my umbrella around when I'm going out. That is proactive job. I'm doing proactive monitoring of stuff. Anything out of these, your identities, your storage, your networks, your compute, you're monitoring them and making sure that they are running all right, making sure that there are no problems which are coming in, making sure that they are getting backed up. Okay. So monitoring and maintaining the Azure resources, these all constitute of 20-25%. This consists like 10-15% of the weightage on that in the exam. The percentage that you're seeing, this is based on exam. If you just go to Google and search for AZ-104 study guide, you will get the same thing. Okay. Similarly, for SC500, the new certification that we have, instead of AZ500, which used to be the old one, that is going to retire on 31st August now. Since it is going to retire, we are we are not looking into that. We are looking at the newer version, which is already approved and it is live. So again, some part you will see that is coming from AZ-104, identity, access and everything. The enter ID is there, RBAC is there, conditional access is there. Like you can create conditions on how your resources can be accessed. You can create configure keywords for storing your secrets. You don't want to write your passwords down somewhere, so you'll store it in a key vault where nobody can directly retrieve it, nobody can read it directly. Instead, the applications can only read it. You have identities for resources getting created, manage identities. Then you have another point of securing storage, database and networking. Again, now see the comparison. In the previous certification, we were talking about managing, configuring resources, like configuring storage, managing storage. Here we are talking about securing them. You created them, fine. How do you secure them? Right? Security, storage, Azure SQL security, then NHE's private endpoint. A lot of points might be overlapping, but here they are little extended, a little in depth, because this is purely because based on security controls. That was related to the basics. That was related to managing and configuring. This is related to security. Okay. Then again, you created virtual machines, but where is the security? How will you ensure that the VMs are secure? How will you ensure that your Kubernetes clusters are secure? How will you ensure that your app services are secure? That is where these points will come in. The compute security will come in. And then again, like we are doing the monitoring of Azure resources, you will do there is a concept of monitoring the security. Like, is my security up to date? Like, people have antivirus in their systems and they keep on updating. Why is that updating? Because no, every day, every other day, they are getting a new virus definition that can be used to attack your services. So they push an update that, okay, to fight this virus, you have got this code. This is the update. That is constant monitoring. And you're monitoring security right now. You're ensuring that your security is up to date or not. Okay, there are various features, there are various products or options in Azure, like Defender for Clouds, Sentinel is there, Security Copilot is there. This is again the AI part that is coming into the SC500. AI was not there in AZ500. So that is what makes it different. Okay. Again, everything constitutes of around 20-25% of the weightage in certification. Okay. Next, and the third certification, the networking part that we are going to cover is AZ700, where you are looking at the core networking infrastructure, like white water IP addresses, VNets, virtual networks, then DNS routing. How do you configure different routes? Then you will see connectivity services. We'll review what is a virtual private network. How do you securely connect from one endpoint to another? What are express routes, or how you can configure hybrid connectivity. Uh, Somehow integrating your on-premises environment network along with the virtual networks on Azure. How can you do that? That is where mostly express out and VPN will come in picture. Then you have application delivery services like load balancer or application gateways. Next topics to cover would be private access. Like I'm creating an app service that is open to public, that is open on the internet, or I've created a database or a storage account that is open to public. But then how do I secure that? How do I ensure that secure, sorry, is in SC 500, but how do you ensure that only users from, let's say, your own organization can access it, nobody from the internet can access it? How are you securing on that part? You have security in place, but how are you securing it network wise? So you will block the access on internet, you will block the public access, you will only enable private access, that somebody from your environment can access it, from your organization can access it. Okay. You will see again, DNS private link, some options are repeating. Then you have network security services. Again, a couple of things have been covered in SC 500, but NSGs, the network security groups, like the security rules, what kind of traffic is allowed or disallowed. Then you have Azure Firewall, kind of an upgraded version of NSG. Then you have DDoS protection. This is very important. Like, what if there is a brute force attack on your environment? Somebody's trying to guess the password. Those kind of attacks happen a lot of times in the companies, that somebody is trying to enter. They know the username, but they don't know the password, so they are trying different combinations of password. So how do you get security from that? How do you ensure that your environment is secure from all of these? So this is what all we'll cover in AZ700 in the networking part. And I hope I have answered a lot of queries earlier from careers perspective, but now people will get more clarity on what these things contain, what these certification contains, and what topics we are going to go through. What kind of logic we are talking about building over here. Make sense? So as I was saying earlier, I think I answered this already, that this is what we are going to do. We'll learn the concept. We'll build it in lab. You're going to get access. You'll test it, break it. We'll try to troubleshoot it. This is the most important thing, in my view, learning the concept. Most important. If you know the logic, you know how it is going to happen. Because it's not necessary to remember, where do I need to click next, or what do I need to do and do this, do that. That's not necessary. Because tomorrow the portal might change, tomorrow some options might change on portal, some new features might come in. But if you know the concept in the background, or how it is happening, how it is getting created, if you can visualize that, that is the most important thing. And that is where you will be able to understand any cloud provider, in my view. Okay. Now next up for Q&A. Now I think we had few people who are left. I'm really sorry for the delay. You guys can please unmute yourself, raise your hands and ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah, Ajay. So regarding, if I have the total around of 11 or 12 years of experience in networking, data centers, and infrastructure delivery, so currently working as a consultant. So My goal is not become a fresher cloud engineer. Yeah. So how this course will help me to transition into the cloud infrastructure lead, operation lead, or even manager roles.
See, when you are transitioning in these kind of roles, you know, the basic thing is you're coming from, you have got good experience. You've got like 10, 12 years of experience with networks and everything. You have worked on on-premises. But now, as I was talking, you know, the world is shifting towards cloud. The first thing is building fundamentals of the cloud. If you have to lead a team, if you have to manage a team, you know, you should know the fundamentals of cloud first. You know, that is the most important thing. Then on top of that, you can correlate your experience, you know, since we are talking about designing networks here, securing things over here, securing networks over here, you can build everything based on your experience from your previous job and implement it in clouds, because nothing is different. You know, if you'll ask me, the only thing, I mean, some features here or there might differ, but most of it you can always relate to on premises. You can always relate to your previous environments. Logics will apply, because if I have to secure something, or if I have to create a network, for example, you know, you'll ultimately need some subnet when you're creating a network.